Amen Thompson to the Houston Rockets was one of my favorite picks of the draft. First of all, I love it because Amen is a great prospect. I have him as my number 3 player in the class. I think he has one of the highest ceilings we have ever seen from a point guard prospect. I think he's going to be really exciting with this Rockets young core. But most importantly, he fits this Rockets team perfectly, and he also kind of solves a lot of the problems that Houston has had this past season. In fact, I think he could end up as their best player long term, and I honestly would bet on it. But quickly before we get into it, I uploaded the first episode of the Herzog Hoops podcast. It's out now. It's on YouTube. It's a podcast with my friend Desmond Novak where we talk about hoops and other things. We talked about the NBA draft, John Collins trade, among other shenanigans in the first episode. Link to that in the description below, as well as the podcast channel and Desmond's channel. Subscribe to his channel as well. Again, all of that in the description below in the pinned comment. Anyways, let's talk about what I believe to be the future franchise player of the Houston Rockets. Let's start with what makes Amen a special prospect to begin with. Amen Thompson is a 6'7", 214-pound point guard with a 7-foot wingspan. On top of that, he's also a freak athlete. The best athlete from this draft class. One of the best guard athletes we have ever seen. On top of that, he has unreal playmaking tools and feel for the game. Funny enough, he kind of reminds me a bit of Jalen Green. Not in terms of play style necessarily, but because of athleticism being used in skill. Because like Jalen Green, Amen doesn't have the greatest handle entering the NBA. Now, it's definitely better than Jalen Green's when he was entering the NBA coming out of G League Ignite. And I would say that Amen's is also more noticeable in terms of being functional. I would say it's definitely a functional handle, where I really didn't believe that with Jalen Green entering the league. But with Amen, it can be a bit loose at times. In the same way Jalen Green used his rare athleticism to make up for the handle as a slasher, which really speaks to how special of an athlete Jalen is, because it takes a special athlete to do what he does as a slasher without a great handle. Amen utilizes his rare athleticism and playmaking to do things other players simply can't do. On top of that, he has the intangibles to potentially be an elite defender. Not quite the defender his twin brother is, but someone that has the potential to be really good on defense in his own right. He projects to be a primary playmaker in the NBA, and those are rare on its own. Let alone a 6'7" freak athlete with the tools to be a primary playmaker and great defender, which is why I was so high on him as a prospect. Now, how does he fit with the Houston Rockets? First of all, he should be an immediate impact player and should be the starting point guard at the gate because he's an instant upgrade over Kevin Porter Jr. and he should be the primary playmaker right away as well, because I think he has the tools to potentially be one, so getting him reps as one will be important. I also think his playmaking will benefit the key young players on the Rockets team. Specifically, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alperen Sengun. I think for Jalen Green, Amen Thompson will allow him to play more off the ball, get reps in catch and shoot, off movement situations, and utilize his athleticism as a cutter more. And also be a major threat in transition, also probably the most athletic backcourt in the NBA immediately. I think for Jabari Smith Jr., Amen Thompson will do wonders for him because of what they'll be able to do with him in pick and roll / pop situations, catch and shoot looks off driving kicks, and spot up looks in transition. I think for Jabari Smith, he did show a lot of progression throughout the year, and he definitely had a slow start, but toward the end of the season, he started to figure it out, but it's still clear that he needs a guy to set him up on offense as he continues to grow as a player. So I think a guy like Amen Thompson could be the player that helps Jabari Smith get his shots and helps him get set up. And I'm really excited to see Amen Thompson play with Alperen Sengun as a P&R duo, because those are the two best playmakers on the team. And I think you could get really creative with the accents between those two. Plus, I think Amen could work as a cutter off of Sengun post-ups. Amen Thompson makes the Rockets better, simply put, on offense. in both the half court and in transition simply because of how gifted of a playmaker he is. Houston clearly needed a primary playmaker, and I felt like if they didn't walk away from this draft with either Scoot Henderson or Amen Thompson, it would have been a failure of a draft. Getting Amen Thompson not only fills the shoes of the playmaking role you need, it also is a high upside pick as well because of his ceiling. He has a chance to be a top 3 to 5 rim pressure threat in basketball, not only because of his athleticism, but because of his physical tools. He's 6'7" and can still add more functional strength, and as he gets stronger, it's gonna be harder to stop him going downhill. On top of that, he also has a chance to be a top 10 playmaker in the NBA, with maybe even all defense potential. Now he does need to work on his jump shot, and I do think his shot is rightfully criticized in terms of the form. However, I do think people are somewhat overreacting to this because I get the sense that people believe it's unfixable, which I don't think is the case. He's already working on improving his form. The Rockets have tools and resources to help him progress in that area as well. It takes a while to fix your form, so I would be patient with his shooting development, but the fact that he's not afraid to shoot the basketball is encouraging. And that's all I really ask for in prospects. Are you willing to shoot? Do you have the confidence to try and make defenses pay for leaving you open? Amen does have that. It hasn't led to great results by any means, but the confidence alone is enough for me to be, really optimistic about what he could be. Because the NBA has the tools and resources to help you improve your form. They don't have the resources to make you more confident and willing to be a shooter. That's something that's on the player. And Amen is willing enough to shoot on tape for me to be optimistic about his outcomes. I think ideally you want Amen to at least get to slightly below league average as a shooter to keep defenses honest, because even if he hits that outcome, he probably is still All-Star to All-NBA good because of how special the other tools in his game are. Now that's the most realistic outcome for shooting projections, but if he becomes a really good shooter, which isn't likely, but let's just say he does in this scenario, like we're talking above average 38 to 40 plus efficiency on good volume, I really feel sorry for the rest of the NBA, because if he exceeds the realistic projections for his shooting outcomes by that much and becomes like a really good shooter, there isn't going to be a guard and there aren't going to be many wings that are going to be able to stop him. I truly believe that Amen Thompson is going to be the best player on the Rockets long term, and probably is going to be their franchise player. He immediately solves their biggest problem on offense, and he has a chance to solve their biggest problem on defense, potentially down the line. And while I do understand people hearing, things like he can do everything, minus the fact he's not a good shooter, and getting flashbacks to Ben Simmons, I totally get that. But at the same time, you have to look at it two ways. First of all, if Amen Thompson gets the accolades that Ben Simmons has in his NBA career, it's going to be viewed as a good pick for the Rockets. Because that's still multi-time All-Star, multi-time All-Defense, All-NBA. Not many people in the NBA achieve what Ben Simmons has done. And if Ben Simmons went 4th overall instead of 1st overall, and his expectations were he has a chance to be a great player, not he is going to be like the next LeBron. Like, if the expectations for Ben Simmons are what they are for Amen Thompson, people don't view Ben Simmons as a major disappointment. Like, they might be disappointed by how it's ended, but you look at his career and he still had a pretty good career, all things considered. It's just the fact that he should be so much better than he actually is, and he was the 1st overall pick. If Amen Thompson makes at least 3 All-Star teams, makes at least 1 All-NBA team, and makes at least 2 All-Defense teams in his career, that's a successful pick for the Rockets. That's an absolute home run. Now, I do think that Amen Thompson is going to be more than that, and I think he's going to improve more than Ben Simmons did. They aren't the same player to begin with. They play different positions. Just because they're both athletic and playmakers does not mean they're the same. Like, it's not even the same sort of shooting problems. Amen Thompson is willing to shoot the basketball when left open. He is also aware of this flaw in his game and is putting in the work to improve on that flaw. Something I can't say about Ben Simmons. It's not a guarantee that Amen Thompson does become the player I think he has a chance to. It's not a guarantee he becomes that potential franchise centerpiece I think he has the talent to. But all the tools and intangibles you just can't teach, plus the work ethic and drive to improve his flaws, is why I'm confident that he has a chance to be the future of Houston Rockets basketball. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, I'm notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, so if that interests you, really think you would enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways can help me out in the YouTube algorithm, helps where people find my videos, so in turn, help the channel grow so I can make more content for you guys in the future. Let's try to get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Let me know what you think about Amen Thompson in the comment section below. What do you think he's going to do as a rookie? Do you think he was the right pick? Do you think that he ends up being the best player in the Rockets? Love to do all that in the comment section below. Also, remember to check out the Herzog Hoops podcast and Desmond Novak's channel. Both those things in the description below and the pinned comment. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.